for this reason, maybe the Syrians would not ask Abdullah to support them as long as they know that he's under pressure of USA, but to be neutral. To be neutral like Lebanon, relatively.
Okay.
So I think the king of Jordan would make mistake. And I wish that he wouldn't be involved in any hostile activity against Syria through his boundaries.
Okay, Mr. Morkali, back to the consultations that you were talking about. Now, you're talking about Washington being the entity that you're consulting or the group is consulting with. I want to look at the history, though, of Washington in the Arab world. Has Washington been a friend of the Arab people, that this opposition to Damascus feel that Washington, which is of course in close alliance and basically hand in hand with Israel, why would Washington be the main factor in this and the main person or entity that the group is consulting with?
If you look at the world today, you have two axes basically, Washington on the one hand and Russia on the other. Russia is supporting the regime in Syria. Washington is not supporting the regime in Syria. So this is why Washington. And then in the Arab world, you have those countries who are supporting the regime in Syria, and you have countries who do not support the regime in Syria. So that's why you have two axes, Washington and Russia, and of course, those regional powers, Iran and Turkey, who support each side in the conflict.
Does it make you concerned that Israel, let me just jump in here, is it of concern to you at all that Israel is a very strong supporter of the insurgency against the government in Damascus?
I'm not so sure about that. In fact, Israel at the beginning was supporting essentially Bashar al-Assad.
Well, we see in the comments, sir, all due respect, you can check any of the mainstream, even news agencies,
I did
even
say
right
at the
now.
beginning, madam. In the beginning, Israel was supporting Bashar al-Assad because as far as Israel is concerned, the Assad family have been the basic protectors of Israel because nothing happened on the Golan since Israel took the Golan Heights.
So why do you see now that Israel is very much supportive of those that are against Damascus at this point? Why? The question is why, sir?
Today.
Why,
today,
sir?
the situation has changed because the regime of Bashar al-Assad has become totally unreliable in the eyes of Israel. So in the eyes of Israel, they would rather have something reliable to talk to in Damascus because the regime of Bashar al-Assad has become like a rogue state.
Okay. Mr. Al-Halabi.
That is why.
Okay, Mr. Al-Halabi, your take on this. Is it curious for you when you see, as they say, with politics, very, very strange bedfellows? Now, we're looking at Qatar, we're looking at Saudi Arabia, we're looking at Turkey, we're looking at Israel, we're looking at the United States, and of course, we're looking at Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra Front. Very, very odd combination in general. What does it say to you, actually, as far as the makeup of this opposition?
Let me first note about the comparison between Moscow and Washington. It is very clear that Moscow leaders used to make meetings with the opposition parties against the regime in Syria. They met with Khatib, they met with all the opposition parties, while Washington didn't make any meeting with any minister of the government of President Bashar Assad.
But of course I did. Of course I did at the beginning.
It is very biased from USA, while it is balanced by Moscow to work on certain peaceful solution by trying to convince the opposition parties and try to convince the Syrian leadership to come together on the table of negotiations or of the talks. So I think this is one note. Second note, Syria, it is not true that Syria for 40 years didn't make anything against Israel. Let me tell him that in 1982, Israel invaded whole Lebanon and occupied Beirut. And the only army that fought against the Israeli forces was the Syrian army. And about 80 aircrafts, military aircrafts, were downed by the Israeli forces. And lot of thousands of Israeli soldiers were murdered on the territory of Lebanon. And Syria could make the resistance of the Lebanese, along with them Hezbollah, to be victorious by supporting them militarily and politically and sacrificing with them.
Okay, I'm almost out of time. Let me get Mr. Morakadi back in here. Mr. Morakadi, 30 seconds. I know it's a tough call in 30 seconds, but that's all the time we have. What will it take to bring peace now to Syria?
What will it take to bring peace to Syria? I think it will take an agreement between President Putin and President Obama. An agreement on what is the day after, what is the scenario for the day after. This is what it would take. How they will agree, who will govern, with the army being under the hand of the Russians, because the Russians control the Syrian army. Who will govern after President Bashar al-Assad is gone? Once I make this agreement, then the rest will be details.
Okay, Mr. Al-Halabi, your take. Same question, sir.
I think what he said proved that the opposition parties are under the hegemony of USA, because USA would make the deal. I think the opposition
with
parties
Russia
themselves, along with the government of Syria, should come together without the intervention of Washington and without even the advices of Moscow. While the advices of Moscow are very peaceful ones, they both should come to the table and be independent opposition parties and not allied to USA and Tel Aviv.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I am so sorry, but we are out of time. Appreciate both of you being with us. Out of Damascus, Mr. Tahsin Al-Halabi, political commentator, and out of Beirut, Mr. Jihad Morakadeh, also political analyst. And thank you, viewers, as always, for being with us right here on The Debate. I'm Marzia Hashemi, signing out for myself and all the crew right here in Tehran. Thanks so much, and goodbye.